Hi, welcome back to Let's Get Your Shift Together. My name's Adriana, and thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel and like, and feel free to share this video with anyone who you think might benefit from watching it. Today's video, I'm going to be discussing the famous quote that all adult children of narcissists seem to hear from other people, which is, "But that's your mother." And you can replace mother with father, uncle, or whatever it is. I'm just gonna make one thing very clear, that abuse is abuse, and it doesn't matter who is doing the abuse. You have the right to not have to suffer from the abuse, regardless of what kind of blood relation you have to that person. So generally, an adult child of a narcissist would probably hear this at any time when they might be discovering that their parent is narcissistic and telling somebody else about what's going on and how whatever's going on is not acceptable. Maybe you've told somebody that you're planning on going low contact or no contact, or maybe you're just venting about how horrible your mother or whoever has been to you, and that person comes back to you with, "But that's your mother." There's plenty of times when you'll hear this, but it's usually around the beginning of making the discovery and when you're kind of trying to find advice maybe from the wrong people on what to do, because the "but that's your mother" crew is not who you want to be talking to about this. So I can totally identify with this because I didn't really have any friends who went through anything similar, so I couldn't talk to them. And if I told anybody in my family, I would get it a lot, "But that's your mother." So, you know, it was kind of futile for me to talk to anybody. So this is why I coach now, because I went through it. I know what you're going through, and I want to help as many people as possible to deal with this kind of stuff, as well as chronic pain, which I've mentioned in other videos. So chances are, if you were raised by a narcissist, you might have some chronic pain issues. So if you are interested in any help with any of that, I have all the information in the description box below on how you can reach me and how you can work with me. So you won't hear this from every person that you talk to about your narcissistic parents or whoever, but I'm going to tell you the type of person who will say this to you. Now, anyone telling you, "But that's your mother," is toxic themselves. So chances are they might be a narcissist themselves, or they could be any other type of toxic personality that exists. The point is, this is somebody who's literally encouraging you to stay in an abusive situation, to accept abuse, to be okay with abuse, because that's your mother. Someone who encourages toxicity like this is toxic. This is not somebody that you want in your circle of people that you associate with. Now, before I get into how to deal with this when somebody tells you that that's your mother and therefore it's okay that she's abusing you, I want to just take a moment to explore the logic behind somebody saying this to you, just so you can see how skewed this perception is, and hopefully this helps you be less bothered by it, because I know myself, when I heard this from people, it hurt and it made me feel really confused, because, you know, here I am thinking like, well, this is really unacceptable, but this person's telling me that that's my mother, which, like, I know, but I mean, I wouldn't accept this type of behavior from anybody else, so what makes them think that I should be talking to my mother still after everything I just told them? Like, how dare they? And I'll tell you exactly how to deal with that, but first I just wanted to give some examples of why you shouldn't feel bad when you hear this from people. Let's take a really extreme example right now of mothers who actually murder their children. Is that okay? Because that's their mother, so, you know, she's entitled to do whatever the fuck she wants, right? Wrong. Another extreme situation, but not quite as extreme as that first example, is the fact that Child Protective Services exists for a reason. So, I mean, there is a body in the government that understands that everybody who reproduces might not necessarily be the best fit for somebody who reproduces. So if we have Child Protective Services who has a case against a mother or father who is beating their child to the pulp, and the child is unsafe, and the child gets taken away, should we protest that? Because you're taking a child away from their parents. Like, that's her mother, even though she's beating the kid up daily. We should leave the child in that situation because that's the mother. No. Another example would be a mother who does drugs in front of their children, and, you know, and Child Protective Services is taking that child away. Should we keep the child in that environment around drugs, around their mother who is on drugs all the time because that's their mother? No. Here's my last ridiculous example of this, I promise. So imagine someone's giving parenting advice, and, you know, they get up there and they say, you are the mother. You get to do whatever you want to this person that you're bringing into this world, that they had no say in you being their parents. But you're the mother, so you can do whatever you want. In fact, from day one, you should tell your child what a worthless piece of shit they are, especially when they first start talking. Here's a cool new social media challenge that we'll have for this group of parents that are at this seminar today. Make your child's first words be, I ruined my parents' life and I'm such a fucking burden on them. And film it and post it to social media because that's just so funny, and you're the mother and you can do whatever you want. So I'm pretty sure there would be some sort of uproar against that if that was some sort of seminar that actually existed that was giving parenting advice. So there's that. Now here are some normal examples of toxicity where it just doesn't belong. So if you are dating somebody and they're verbally abusive to you, and you know you don't need to take that behavior from them, you're gonna break up with them because you know that there's plenty of fish in the sea and you can move on with your life, and you don't need this person who's putting you down every day. And if you tell anybody about the situation with a significant other who's been verbally abusive, they're probably gonna tell you to dump that person and find somebody else. So why is it okay for your mom to still, like, do you get where I'm going with this? If you're in a toxic workplace where you just feel like shit every day and nothing you do is ever good enough, the general advice would be to work on your resume and look for another job. You're not really gonna get any advice that says, well, that's your job, so you should stay there. Like, there's no other jobs in the world. You should just stay there and be miserable because you get a paycheck from there and you're never gonna have a paycheck from anywhere else. So why leave a toxic workplace? And my final normal example would be just your friends. So if you have friends who are toxic to you, and maybe you're venting about this to somebody else, they're gonna tell you to just dump that person as a friend. Like, you don't have to keep all of your friends. And maybe it's so much easier to get rid of friends because they're not blood, or maybe it's easier for people to wrap their heads around the fact that you can, you know, cut anyone off in your life who's not blood related to you. But what makes blood so special? Absolutely nothing, because you literally don't get to choose what family you're born into. So now I'll get into how you should react when someone pulls the whole "but it's your mother" on you. And I only have 3 things to say about this. Number 1, you do not have to explain yourself to somebody for why you need to protect your mental health. You owe them no explanation whatsoever. Number 2, distance yourself from that person, because like I said at the beginning of this video, anybody who encourages you to stay in a toxic situation is toxic themselves, and you don't need that person in your life either. And the third thing that I'm gonna say about this, which I did mention before, is that sharing DNA with somebody doesn't mean anything. You literally had no choice to who you would be born to or adopted by, or who would be taking care of you as a child growing up. You had absolutely no choice whatsoever with that part of your life. So just understanding that this was not your choice and you did not choose these people to be your family, and being okay with that. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope this helps anybody who has gotten the whole, but that's your mother, from anyone. It's not acceptable, it's not okay, and you don't have to put up with that shit. Thanks again for tuning into this video. Again, please subscribe, like this video, and feel free to share this with anyone who you think would benefit. See you next time.